Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with a brand new episode. This is the second episode in 1 week. Man, these people, man. I gotta get their voices heard and their names out there. I gotta help these people. Today's episode, good friend of mine. We met back when he ran for mayor. I started following him around and seeing what he had. He has very good potential. I was talking to him a little bit before the show started. We have Mr. Kelly Burke. He's running for AISD Board of Trustees, Place 5. How are you doing today, Kelly?
I'm doing great, brother. Doing great. How you doing?
I am just, honestly, to be honest with you, I'm exhausted.
Well, me and you both.
Dude,
Yes, me.
but like that's interesting because I follow you on Facebook and everything, and I see that you own your own gym. You're very into fitness, and good for
Yeah.
you, man. Good for you.
Thank you, brother. Yeah.
Is it? I want to ask you, since you're running for a place on the AISD board of trustees, is it hard running your own gym and running for a seat?
Yeah. I mean, it's hard running for the seat if you weren't doing anything else, period. But if you were working a regular job and running, it's gonna be hard, But definitely, especially because I'm still working out too. So I mean, that's important to me, and I don't want to lose that because that's my thing. You know what I mean? Like me being able to get in the gym and get a workout in is my thing. And so now I'm working out at 5 a.m., which I've never done before in
Whew,
my
at
life, but I've
5
always
a.m.
wanted to be. Yeah, exactly. So that means I got to get up at 4. I'm getting out of bed at 4:15 in the gym. You know what I mean? By 4:45, and I'm under some weights at 5 a.m. So
Man,
um, I'm doing it on an empty stomach. I've never done that before either. So it's kind of these things that you think about when you're younger, and you hear stories of older guys getting up early and tackling their day and doing their 5 a.m. crew, and it's like, yeah, one day I'll do it. And then you try it, and you're like, okay, this sucks. And then you know what I mean. Now it's like I really have to do that. And then we own a daycare too, so my wife and I. So I'm at the gym at 5. I'm out of here, by 7. I'm at the daycare by 7:30. I'm dropping kids off because we bus kids to school. And so then I'm going home, changing, getting dressed, and then coming back, and I'm bouncing between both businesses all day and campaigning. And
yes.
so yeah, it's definitely
I
a
also
lot.
see. I also see here you're also a minister.
Yes, sir.
How long you been doing that?
I accepted my call into the ministry in 2005,
Nice.
and then just went around preaching, evangelizing, being invited to different churches. And then a few years ago, I actually started my own ministry. I've actually started twice. Ministry is very hard, especially when you go into pastoralship, because it takes all of you. And I think that some people, especially young ministers, they don't realize how much it takes of you to do that. And so, the second time we started, we actually started in the gym. So I brought a lot of the gym people out, and things were going well. And then I felt like I was outgrowing that space, so I knocked the wall out, made it a little bit bigger, and was like, oh, we need more space. So I moved to the daycare, and then it kind of hurt the crowd.
Mm.
And so right before that was COVID was approaching, and I was like, okay, I'll probably shut down and then revamp, in the next few months. And then COVID came, and it was no church. So
Yeah.
I didn't start back from that point.
It's interesting because my church I go to, they started at people's houses.
Mm-hmm.
Then they got tent, like a giant like tent thing.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they would do it there outside. Then they got like a community room or a conference room that had a disco ball.
No way.
Yeah, a disco ball in there, and they would do
That's
services
that's
there.
pretty cool.
And then
Yeah.
they did a shopping center, and they've been there ever since. And it's a good space, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
and it's funny to seeing people's church growth, and it's
Yeah.
awesome. Professional
Definitely.
bodybuilder, retired bodybuilder.
Oh yeah, you see some of
Look at those
my
trophies,
shows?
man.
Yeah.
Flaunting them in front of my face, man.
Yeah, there
Gosh.
they are.
Yo,
Yeah, I
hit
retired.
hit me with it. Hit me
Yeah,
with it. Let's see it.
I know, right? I'm saying that. I think I got that over here. Oh, let me see. I grabbed it. This was this was the start. So that's 2013.
Oh my
I
gosh.
never show this kind of stuff right in politics, but hey,
Hey.
that was 2013, and then this was me in 2016. That's my pro debut. So yeah, man, I did that, and that was my childhood dreams. Arnold Schwarzenegger fan, Ronnie Coleman fan, and grew up wanting to be a bodybuilder. And so, I believe that God allowed me to play in that field for a while. And in 2017, well, 2016 when I turned pro, I traveled on the pro circuit in 2017, and I realized that, oh man, do I really want to do this for the next 10 years of my
Wow.
life? With having a family and kids and a wife and a business, and it's so much. When you're a bodybuilder, that takes everything of you. It's gonna take your time, your energy, your money, and then you're always eating clean, always eating right. My kid's birthday, I can't eat birthday cake because I'm always getting ready for a competition around my son's
I couldn't
birthday.
do it.
Yeah, it was just such a big deal, and it was like I had to make a decision after traveling and losing on the pro circuit, because when you turn pro, you start all the way over again unless you're just this phenom. And I wasn't the guy that was just a phenom, but I was a guy that had a really good potential. And
Yeah.
so I had to start all the way over. So I'm getting my butt kicked on that pro stage, and was like, well, yeah, man, but in the next 5 years, you're gonna move to the top. 5 years? And I'm trying to do this in 5 days. Not really, but you get what I'm saying. Like I mean, like I don't have that. I don't
Yeah.
have that kind of time to to focus 5 years, and I have a business. So I just knew after my last show, I came home from that show. And it's funny because at that show, I went there and then something happened with my card. Well, they tried to charge my card for the wrong amount. I got back from eating and they had my stuff at the front of the hotel. And we walk in with all these competitors. Now, it's some big name competitors at the show. My luggage is sitting at the front of the hotel and they said, "Oh yeah, Mr. Burke, you're kicked out of your room. Your card declined." I'm like, in front of everybody. They're like, "All right, see you later." I'm like, oh my God. Well, we got the card situation fixed. They charged me wrong amount. I had to give me the room. Whatever. So
Wow.
I get home and I was sitting on the couch with my wife and I said, "I think I'm done." And she said, "No, you're not. You love bodybuilding. You're not done." I said, "I think I'm done." And I was done. But that moment when I was talking to her and sitting on the couch, I knew where I was going next. And that was to focus on ministry and eventually politics, because I knew that I was going to run. And so, I knew I had to start focusing my attention. So to get it off of me, because bodybuilding is about you, to put my attention on more service and serving the people and serving the public. So
you went from bodybuilder to minister, and now we're into politics now. What?
Yeah, but I feel like those two go hand in hand.
Okay, so what influences you to run for offices? Like who inspires you to do that?
Yeah, I never had like a favorite politician or anything like that, because they're all politics. I believe that politicians are all full of crap growing up. I mean, just to be quite frank, I believe.
I get you.
You know how people view politicians, and so that's how I viewed it. So I never per se wanted to be a politician. I just knew that I was called to lead, and I knew that I was called to fight against things that weren't right. And so, of course, that's what ministry is about. You're fighting for God in an arena. And so I didn't fully foresee that it was going to be politics, but it just made sense once I started looking at where he took me from and to, and the things that I was passionate about. And so I started getting passionate about what was happening in the country. And then it led to, you know what, one day I'm going to run, because I want to change this. I don't want to be the guy that's sitting back on Facebook and arguing with people. And you know how you get into that.
I was like that for a while, once I turned 18 and was able to vote now and everything. I was like, okay, I think now it's time I got to focus on this kind of stuff. And I was so upset with how things were being run, like from city to state to country. I was sitting here just like, what? And my biggest thing is like, I talked about this with you before we started the show, is like, there's not a candidate out there that represents me.
Yeah.
They're all born rich or super rich.
Wow. Yeah.
And I was like, I want a candidate that's like me, that's worked their ass off, that and built what they have. So for you, what I like about you is that you're not this conglomerate business owner that's huge and just Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, even though we would like to be.
Exactly.
You're just
definitely like
you do what you like to do, which is working out. You're a minister. You help your wife with the daycare. That's awesome. So, with that being said, you kind of agree. You kind of see what I'm saying here. It's awesome that somebody who's like me, you're a perfect representation of regular people.
Yeah.
And
go
ahead. You go ahead.
Funny you say that, because you would think that that's what the voter would want.
Yeah.
Because that's how I viewed it. I felt like when you look at the founders, of course, these guys were successful, but they were still normal guys that were in their normal lives. So when we look at it in hindsight, we're like, well, they weren't successful, but they were just normal people, that just got it, that needed to stand up to the Brits and take our country and break off. And so they founded what we know as the Americas, and they fought a big war behind it, And so it was like, when you look at it, you're like, well, originally these were just normal people, like, in Black America, who was Frederick Douglass? He's just a normal guy that said, "This is enough is enough." Yeah, and I'm like, that's what I believe a politician should be. And we turn politics into the most successful people, the most decorated people, the most connected
popularity
people.
contest.
There you go. And so,
like, if you look back at American history, it's just these normal guys. Our founding fathers, like, one was like a shoemaker, one was a carpenter, and they're like, let's go start a country,
Yeah, let's you know what? We're not gonna buy out of these guys. We don't want to pay them this tax anymore.
Let's just go do our own thing.
Exactly. And you would think in this arena that people want that, but then when I start approaching voters and hearing the comments back and what they would say, "What gives you the credentials to run for this?" I'm like, have you read the credentials for somebody to run for public office? There's no credentials.
There's no credentials. You can
18
run
years old.
for mayor at 18 years old. And in fact,
18 years
funny
old.
thing was, before the last mayoral election, I was considering throwing my hat in to run.
Yeah,
I
you should
told
have.
I told Jim Ross that, our current mayor. I go, I was thinking about running. I was like, why not? It'd be fun.
Yeah, definitely. What's the guy that ran against us? Arcilio. He
Ooh,
was a young guy.
yes,
He was only 21, I think.
yeah,
He didn't campaign because I guess, he realized like maybe I'm over my head, but it was just the fact that he even threw his name in the hat. Be like,
yeah.
I run, and
Why
I
not?
think they said it was kind of like a joke to his friends because they were like, he's like, I ought to run for mayor. They was like, do it. And he actually did. And I'm like, well, that's pretty cool because when I was that age, I didn't even think about doing it. So to see, how we've progressed as a nation for somebody to, but Tom Vandergrift was, what was he, 21 when he ran for mayor? And won. He was pretty young. He wasn't over 25. I know that for sure.
Yeah.
But
In fact,
now
the youngest person to run in Texas was in Grand Prairie, and he ran for city council. We have never had in
oh,
Texas.
Junior,
I think so.
the recent one,
Yeah,
yeah, Junior's 21.
yeah, he was
Oh, he
21.
was.
But we've
Yeah,
never had a mayor who's under the age of like 30 or something, like
yeah.
like 20, almost in that 20 area. And it's so fascinating. So I want to ask you this question because we're talking about youth and young people. How are you going out and getting the young votes? You're running for a thing for schools, so you have to influence younger people. Like, hey, you just got out of high school, you just got out of college or something. How should we change this? Like, how are you doing that?
Yeah, it's just basically just beating the streets up in the community. I think the hardest thing that I'm facing with younger people is um, a lot of younger people now don't see things the way I see them,
Mm,
and so we're because of a lot of the media and just where we are, in colleges, what happens on college campuses, and so I'm pushing entrepreneurship, I'm pushing family, I'm a Christian, and some of these things are not as you know uh,
yeah.
acceptable anymore for college students. So I am honestly struggling in that area with the younger students and voters. So I hope that you guys, some people that think like us or even believe in change, because I think that's the main thing. If they believe that in order for anything to get better, because at the end of the day, two sides both feel like things need to be better.
Hmm.
And ultimately, if you want something to be better, then we have to have leadership that comes in with a vision, with a plan, and that can see life through both sides. Because
Yeah.
I came from the streets. I came from the streets of Fort Worth, Texas, originally, before I moved to Arlington. And so I understand the struggle. And so it's backs up to what you were just saying, is that I'm just a normal guy. I'm a normal guy that came from something to change his life into where it is today. And I can see that if a kid does the same thing by just putting his mind to, I want to be something in life, then he has the opportunity to do that. So, that's really my message when I talk to young people. It's like, look, you could be anything in this world. Nobody's stopping you. Nobody's holding you back. Nobody's standing over your shoulders. There's nobody whipping you behind. It's only you. It's you versus you. And if you can beat you and get away from that old you that's holding you back, and the new you he's waiting on you. I always used to tell my wife, I'm like, when I, for so many years, I would look in the mirror and the man that I saw wasn't the man that I knew I was supposed to be, because I was holding myself back. And I had to literally slap that guy in the face and say, look, the guy that's in there, he's ready to come out. And so by developing that guy, I'm the guy that I am today. And so that's just the message to the young people. So I am struggling in that part of it, though, because it's just about finding, those that, want that change.
And they're out there.
Definitely.
I talked to a priest the other day, and I was asking him, like, hey, with younger people, do they like more traditional ways of? I'm an Anglican, so Anglicanism, it's
Yeah.
a. Do they like the more traditional way, or do they like the more modern way? And he
Right.
tells me, you'd be surprised, they like the older version more, which is more hymnals and organs. And so there's people out there, young people out there, who like traditional ways. Um,
Right.
and you just have to find them and
Yeah.
talk to them and influence them into like saying, listen, I believe what you in, let me be your voice.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
right now with young people, it's hard to get their votes because one, they're not voting,
Definitely. There you go.
and two, they don't know what this is, you know.
Yeah, and when you talk about local politics, if it's not a mayor race, most young people
Don't care.
people don't really care. Especially when you go down to school board. Now we got mayor, we got city council, and then we go down to school board. They're already like, man, what do you guys do again?
Yeah.
Oh, we are the ones that make schools better. We focus on the budget. We hire for our superintendent. You know, we focus on curriculum. We do things like that that would, you know, make your life better as a student. They're like, oh, okay, yeah, I don't care.
Yeah. So
I was,
have you met the current superintendent for AISD?
yeah, Cavazos, yeah.
What do you think about him?
I don't think he's a bad guy.
Mm.
You know, I don't think he's a bad guy at all.
Yeah.
People are mad at his salary and his lifetime benefits that we're paying for out of our tax dollars. But besides that, I don't think he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
I don't vote anything against him.
So I'm going to ask you a question. For me, for education, I am hugely against STAR testing.
Yeah,
What is your stance on STAR testing? Should we have it? Should we not have it?
I stand with you, brother.
Yes, sir. That's what I like to hear.
Testing. I believe that the whole standardized testing system is crippling our kids because now teachers are having to teach around testing. And I didn't test well as a young guy,
Yeah.
but I could retain information pretty good. You know, and if you ask me, I can tell you, but you put me in front of a test, you know, and so
because it's like it's so stressful. Like you're smart that you know this stuff. Like physics, for example. You know how to do all the math. You know how to do all the measurements and everything. And then you get this piece of paper that says, "Okay, take this, and if you take this, you can either fail or succeed and move on to the next grade." I'm sitting like,
yeah,
well, now
oh
I'm
my God.
stressed.
Yeah,
And
this
what
is gonna stop
sucks
me
is,
from moving to the next grade.
and what sucks is, those tests are hard. I've taken them. Everybody's taken them. What
Yeah,
sucks is people with disabilities have
mm,
to take the same test,
same
and
test.
they have learning disabilities. They can't do it.
Yeah,
It's so unfair. So, if you got in, would you try to influence the abolishment of the STAR test?
yeah, I'm heavily vocal about it too. And so many people are as well. I mean, so many people feel this sentiment about this STAR test. Is that my biggest issue with the STAR test is that it takes teachers away from actually being able to have the freedom to teach kids because they're
Yes.
teaching tests. And I think because if you're a student that's hungry to learn, and then you're a teacher that's having to box in what you would normally teach to test, teach them for testing, then that kid's gonna miss a lot.
Hmm.
Yeah, they're gonna miss a whole lot. How old are you?
I'm 21.
Oh wow, you're young.
I'm
So yeah,
young,
you
dude.
I'll be 40 in May. I
Oh
didn't take
my
the
God.
start.
No, you're not.
Yeah, man. I'll be
No
40.
way.
I know, right? I
I
look
don't
good.
believe
Thank
it.
you, God.
Yeah, I don't believe
I'll be
it.
40, man. Yeah,
I
I'm
thought you were
82.
like mid 30s. I'd say
Yeah,
like
that's what
33 to
yeah,
35.
that's what everybody thinks. But you know, that's I'm
Dang.
probably fit.
Good for
Probably
you.
fit. Thank you, man. Thank you, brother.
That's
Thank
all
you.
the working out that you do.
There you go. That's what it is, man. Steak, and fish. You know, and chicken. But yeah, so we took the TOS test. That's what our test was to
Dude.
get out. The TOS test.
Task
And
test.
so, you know, that wasn't I mean, it was hard, but it was like people could pass the TOS test. And we didn't, our teaching wasn't centered around the TOS test. They taught. And so the TOS test was that was your exit. But, you know, the focus on it wasn't the same. And so I see what happens now in the public education and the focus on this STAR test. I'm like, man, this is bad. This is very, very bad.
And it's stupid because I'm not a good test taker at all. I'm the worst at it. I'm more
Neither.
good at presentations. Like I can present a great speech. I'm not scared of crowds. I can go out there and go, "What's up?" and just amp up the crowd and make it.
You probably need to be a politician there. It's probably in you.
Everybody's been telling me to do that. So hey, Chapel 24.
Good ball.
So, uh, I could do a presentation. I can write. I can do all this stuff. But when you give me a test, I'm sitting there like, oh my gosh. And I've failed STAR tests before. I've had to take the English one or the reading one they call it 2 times. And they're
Yeah.
like, you gotta retake this. And I'm like, this is so
But you were good
stupid.
on math. You were good
I
on
was, I
math.
was good at math. I was
Yeah,
good at
yeah.
the simple math, like times and adding and all divide. Like, oh, that's my
Yeah.
stuff. But once you add in letters, I'm like, what?
You're like, oh my God. See, I was always opposite. I was good at everything but math. And I'm like, man, this would kick my butt, you know. So I was late learning on it, but of course I passed it eventually. But yeah, I mean, I just think that the whole standardized testing system needs to be revamped like
Yes.
immediately because it's crippling our kids. And you got to think, man, like look where we are in public education right now. look at the where the rating is on reading across the board.
Look
Look
at
at where
the
the rating is.
look at the success rate of public education too. A lot more
Yeah,
people are dropping out or getting GEDs. And like, trust me,
yeah,
I respect people who get GEDs. I
yeah.
see.
Me too.
My mom had got a GED, and that's a hard test. She took it, I think, three or two times. I
Yeah,
respect people who do that, but you're more likely to get a better job with the diploma
agreed.
and then a bachelor or like a bachelor's and all that than you are with a GED and an associate's type thing. And
Yeah.
so we got to look at the success rate of these schools and say what's the problem here,
Mm,
and
yeah,
we got to find the common issue, which is either how the schools are being run, which is the teachers and how they're teaching, standardized testing. Uh, you also got to look at how students are treating other students. My big thing is right now is we have a lot of violence in schools. I mean, I just got out of high school. I've
come on.
witnessed drug deals. Like,
Yeah.
so what is your plan to help students be safer in schools?
Well, it's crazy because I've been campaigning heavily on this topic, and I get a lot of backlash for it because I speak out. And our schools are very violent,
Yes.
very violent. A lot of our schools are. I want to call it a whole bunch of schools, but looking at this, the crime watch stuff like Lamar's on there every week. Something's happening over there. Like, I mean, it's back to back to back to
We
back.
had
And so,
Timberview just a couple months ago.
yeah, that's horrible.
It's
That's
horrible.
horrible. Like, and so people are asking me, well, what are you going to do? Because I'm like, we need to stop this violence. And so, like, what are you going to do? I'm like, I'm not doing anything new. I'm only going to enforce the rules that are already in place. Like, because we already have rules in place. And if the rules were being enforced, we would not have these problems, because you got to think where education was 10, 15, and 20 years ago. Do you think a student would have threatened a teacher?
No.
Not at all.
There's
This is
no and it's there's
no
no
way.
respect. Like
Yeah.
I remember wanting to be one of my things I really wanted to do was be a history teacher. I love
Mm,
history. I wanted to be a history teacher.
yeah,
And
me too.
talking to my parents, they're like, I would never be a teacher now. Kids are ruthless. And I go, that's the
Yeah,
problem. It's there's no respect.
yeah,
Like teachers don't make that much as it is, but they're
yeah,
taking
definitely.
time out of their time out of their day, out of their years, pretty much, to teach your kid how to be successful in the future. And
Right.
it's just awful how we treat teachers. So would you be? I want to ask you this question: would you be for paying teachers more or keeping it the same?
I'm definitely open to paying teachers more. And I mean, they already had that on the board anyways.
Mm.
Not on this, of course, the board, but I'm just saying it was already in the works. It just needs to happen. And I think they were fighting for a 4% raise, and I heard some teachers got it and others didn't. But yeah, that's definitely got to happen. Like, teachers definitely need to be paid more. They are dealing with a lot, man. They are dealing with a lot. But in the basic thing is just to hold those students accountable that
Yes.
are the problem. That's the main thing. You are not going to be a problem and be a constant problem in our schools.
Yes.
If I'm elected and the students is a problem in that school, he has to be, or she has to be, dealt with immediately, because we don't need this to continue on. And we don't need our students to think they can get away with it either.
Mm.
If you commit a crime as an adult, you're going to be held responsible. That's
Yes.
just how our system is created. So it's no different as a kid. When you were a child and you disrespected one of your parents, you got your butt whooped.
Yeah.
Or you got put on punishment. And that's the same thing that has to happen in our schools. And so, teachers are already dealing with coming back from COVID, having to teach. Now we got the social emotional learning with counselors now. You add all this stuff together, and then you bring into the violence in schools. And it's like, man, I could not imagine having to deal with some of the stuff that our teachers are dealing with, man. It's sad to see. It's very sad to see. So yeah, I would definitely, and I'm fighting for, if I'm elected or not, I'm still in this fight for our teachers, and I'm fighting for the students too.
Mm.
I mean, it's because some of them aren't doing this stuff. We do have some good kids in our schools,
Yes.
and they need, they need somebody to stand up and fight for them too, because we don't want them to be afraid to go to school.
Yeah.
We don't want them to be afraid to speak up or say something. It's a crazy time we're seeing. Just crazy.
I want to ask you, what is your plan for security? We've been having, with violence happening, we've been having school shootings happen left and right, pretty much. What is your plan to end that if you were elected into the board? How would you fight to say, okay, we got to keep our kids safe as well? We're having too many incidents happen here, pretty much all around the world. So what are we going to do to stop that?
I think one of the things that I want to do is sit down with the police chief, Al Davis, and compose a plan with some of our leaders and parents. And I want to hear parents and teachers and the students.
Yes.
And sit around and throw some ideas out with everybody, and then go sit back at the table with the board and try to put a plan together with him. Because I do have a lot of ideas that I can throw at it, but I think at the end of the day they're just ideas. But unless I hear from everybody on what they think could happen to alleviate some of this stuff, because I remember when we were in school, if you brought a gun to school, if you were fighting, if it was a certain kind of thing that happened that you did, you went to juvenile. I mean, immediately. I'm not trying to say these kids aren't going to juvenile now, but I'm saying we were afraid to go to juvenile.
Yes.
And
That's the thing is, kids. I was talking to a teacher of mine before I graduated. They're saying kids are not scared to get arrested, go to jail. They're not scared.
Yeah, at all. Yeah, at all. But you know what? If they're arrested and they go to jail or juvenile and they're allowed to come back to school, I wouldn't be afraid either. Would you?
No.
You see what I'm saying?
Like,
if you're going to be arrested,
that was my punishment.
You'll be back the next week,
and then
I can go home and relax and eat some Cheerios, and then come back the next week.
And we had these stupid out of school suspensions, and that doesn't. They just gave the kid a vacation.
Yeah, exactly. The kid has to be kicked out. If he goes to juvenile or she goes to juvenile, you cannot come back. That's it. If your whatever you did was that severe, then yeah, you're out. And I just think that it has to be that has to be enforced.
You know what my plan is to stop having kids bring guns to school?
What's that?
Metal detectors.
Yeah, a lot of people threw those out. Of course, that's a fight. Some people are for, some people are against. I'm open. Open. I would like to look at it.
I'm why not? Have the kid walk through it. It's just like an airport. I mean, I have always said this. We treat education. It's part of our government. Education is part of government. We have government elections for education, but yet we don't treat schools like government buildings.
Yeah, that's what I've been hearing that sentiment.
We have.
And again, I'm not.
I've gone to the municipal courts. I've gone to all these different government buildings, and I had to go through a metal detector. I had to meet with security. All right, take off your belt. Okay, put your stuff in the bucket. Go through it. Why aren't we treating schools like government buildings? I mean, we treat education such a hard topic to talk about, and it's
very hard. And it's only hard because when people believe that it's dealing with kids, they want to say, well, they're just kids, and so I get it.
They're just kids until they start shooting each other or stabbing each other or buying drugs from each other. Yeah, they're just kids. They're just kids.
Exactly. So I'm a father, so I mean, trust me, I get it. I love kids. I love kids.
I'm not a father. I'm 21, so I've witnessed violence, but I have nephews who are young, and I'm terrified of them going into school. What's going to happen next? Because I'm seeing this awful things happen, like with Timberview that happened recently. That kid.
Scary, man.
It was started because of bullying.
Yeah.
And then he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna bring this gun to protect myself." First off, how does the kid have access to the gun?
Yeah.
That's also a parent thing too, and you have to look at all these. What's the issue here? What's the common factor that's causing these kids to shoot up schools? And it's just we gotta figure it out.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Agreed.
Real quick, everybody, if you guys want to learn more about Kelly Burke and what he stands for, go to burkeforeducation.com. It's his website, and it has everything about him, why he's running, all of his positions, and his endorsements, everything. Go support him. He's a really good guy. Mr. Burke, I want to talk to you about something very important. I'm looking at your website here, and you click Why Kelly. It's the tab that you have. You should go to the very bottom. You have one topic in bold letters. Bring God into our schools.
Come on.
I am 100% on board with this. I was in high school, and we had clubs where Bible study and all that. And
oh wow. What high school?
Yeah, and it's funny because I remember.
What high school did you go to?
I went to Martin.
Okay. Oh yeah, great.
But I remember for the longest time in middle school, you'd get in trouble if you had a Bible on you.
Yeah. Wow.
Because you get in trouble for having a Bible on you, but you didn't get in trouble if you had a Quran or a Torah.
Yeah.
Because we have to respect other people's religions, I'm the type of guy. I'm the type of Christian that goes, I'll respect your whatever you celebrate, as long as you respect what I celebrate.
Yeah, that's how it should be.
And it's just being nice to my brothers and sisters. And just in God, you celebrate a different God, but yet you're still my brother. Yeah, as long as you're not hurting people, as long as you're doing good. All right, cool, good for you. So how do you plan on bringing God back to schools?
My concept is this, right? Don't push religion on anybody. Cool, right? Okay, we got laws in place for education and how they deal with religion. Although, like you just said, they are teaching or allowing other religions to be expressed
Mm.
besides Christianity, as we have seen across the board. So my deal is this: allow churches to partner with schools, right? So that if all students don't want to hear a prayer or want to be involved or hear what a preacher has to say or be involved in this Bible study or whatever this little segment is that we're doing with churches, um, have those parents be able to opt these kids in and have where we can have preachers or youth ministers to be able to come on these campuses. And for those students that need it, okay, look, we have social and emotional learning. We got SEL now, right? So through social and emotional learning, if a kid is stressed out or having some emotional issues where they need some kind of therapy session, teachers are playing that role of having to do that, right? Or they're bringing in people to do that. Well, then why can't we, through that same umbrella, have our pastors and youth leaders come in for those kids that want that? I'm just saying, even the playing field. That's all I'm trying to do is saying, let's have our people, Christian people on staff, on deck, not on staff getting paid, but as an approved on the list for people to come in and help these kids, because there are a lot of Christian kids still in our schools, and we need to have representation across the board. If we're going to make it fair, it's got to be fair, and that's the only thing I'm posing is,
And it's
to open the door up for churches to be able to cope, work hand in hand with these schools
and like
for
you
the
talk
kids that
about.
want.
I remember going to my high school and they were talking about diversity, and we gotta be diverse. We gotta respect other people, no matter race,
That's crazy, right? I know where you're about to
orientation.
go. Go
But
ahead.
yet, here we go. But yet, oh, if you're a Christian, go over there type
Yeah,
thing. And it's so
yeah,
funny. It's just like for me seeing that, I'm like, you guys sit here and complain. Like I remember we used to get in trouble for complaining about somebody who celebrated Islam, who was Muslim. I remember we used to complain about that. We used to complain about Jews. We used to complain about all these other religions. And then we're like, that's bad. You can't do that. Respect them. Okay, I'll respect them. But why don't you respect Christianity?
wow,
It's one of the top three. like,
yeah. There you go.
and it's
Look,
like
this
you
is
got
one.
you can't show love to two or three or four or five or whatever, but not show love to another one. That's like saying, okay, only show love to white, Hispanic, Asians, but not black. Don't.
Yeah, there you go.
It's
Yeah,
the same
but you know
thing.
what? That's what equality is supposed to be. And I was just driving in my car the other day thinking about that word equality, because I think about the backlash that I get when I speak a lot of times from
Mm.
people on the left or people that don't think like us would say, right? With somebody with conservative views. And I thought to myself, I'm talking out loud. I'm driving, and this is how I come up with my
I've
speeches.
been there.
You do it
I
right.
drive
So
out loud
I
like,
pull up to
what the
yeah,
heck?
exactly. Yeah, I pull up to a red light and I said this: diversity and equality is only needed or acceptable when it sounds like this.
yes.
But when it doesn't sound like this, then we don't want it.
Yeah.
So we're going to be equal across the board, and we need equal representation for everybody, unless you believe this way. Because if you believe that way, which is a way that we don't believe, then we don't want you.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not trying to be equal. You're trying to take over what we're doing, and we're not. We
Yeah.
don't want to take it over. We just want to be present in the conversation. If there's a conversation about religion, Christians need to be there. If there's a conversation about morals, Christians need to be there. If
If
there's a
it's a
conversation,
conversation about race, all
there you
races
go.
need to be there. It's about
They
if
have,
it's about
you have to
gender,
have
all
representation
gender have to be
across
there.
the board. There you go. It,
Yes.
it has to be like that. And that's the only thing I'm fighting for. And I keep telling people, I'm not trying to take anything over. I'm
No.
not trying to make God be president over anything you have going. I'm just saying God needs to be present, and the faith-based leaders need to be present when it comes to our students in our schools and when it comes to local government. That's what we need. Now they do they took out the prayer in school board meetings, and they do a moment of silence.
But yet, a moment of silence is supposed to be time for prayer. Fun fact.
Yeah. So they moved
It's
that time, and then we moved this in
yeah.
because of what people want. But I'm like, just make it. I'm not.
Just
Hey, whatever you guys doing, just make it even.
yeah. Just
Just
make.
make it.
You're not gonna like. Everybody's not going to like you. No one's gonna be pleased by you. But it's what you think is good that matters, and what helps students.
Agreed.
Um. But yeah, Kelly, listen. If they want to learn more about you, where they go? BurkeForEducation.com.
BurkeForEducation.com. Check out
Yes,
my
sir.
Facebook too.
Yes, sir.
Um, Kelly R. Burke on Facebook. But yeah, it's just that's it, man. I'm easy to find.
All right, Mr. Burke. Today's podcast is sponsored by Poddex. Have you heard of Poddex, by the way?
I haven't.
Oh
No,
my gosh,
I've
how
been
have you
itching. I've
not
been on.
heard of
I've been on the
Poddex?
verge of starting my podcast. I'm gonna do it probably after this election either way. But yeah, I
Dude,
haven't.
if you need help, I got you.
Okay, yeah, let's do it. Yeah,
I
definitely.
got you. Pod decks are these cool deck of cards that allow you to help you ask questions and interviews and come up with ideas for your podcast. The one that we're going to be using today is the What the Heck deck. It's a bunch of random questions in there, so I have no idea what's in here.
So I get to say what the heck on the question.
Yeah, that's the answer. It's like, what the heck?
Right.
But we have the interview deck, which is what I've been using for a very long time. You can see the wear and tear on there. It helps me out a lot. I think I have another one. Yes, I do. The Would You Rather deck. Would you rather questions? Like, would you rather run for mayor or run for AISD board? But like, it's one of those type fun things. But today's What the Heck. Now, if you want to check these out and get your money back, go to poddex.com. Go get what you want. Go to the promo code, that little promo code right there, and type in TCLIVE to get 10% off your first purchase. Again, TCLIVE. That's TC Live to get 10% off your first purchase. Kelly, are you ready?
Let's do it.
All right. This is going to be fun. All right. I've just pulled random cards out, so I have no idea what they are. They could be absurd. They can be cool. I mean, all of them are cool, man. It's pod decks. All right. Definitely. What would be the absolute worst name you can give your child?
Worst name?
Worst name.
Lucifer.
That's a good, yeah. You know what's funny is like that's such a it's a very bad name, but like if it wasn't like for the person who had his name,
yeah, then you're like, this is not even a bad name.
It's kind of a cool name. Like
it's the devil's name, right?
And then like, have you seen the show Lucifer? Like
I know about the show, but I didn't watch it.
His name, you know what his full name is?
What?
Lucifer Morningstar.
Oh wow!
But
that's what that's the scripture saying. You know,
the Morningstar.
That's him.
Oh, here we go. Back in high school, what was the strangest thing someone could find in your locker?
Oh wow! What's the strangest thing?
Strangest thing, man.
I didn't even use my locker in high school.
Either.
Besides football, like what was in there? Probably food.
Food, yeah. Same here. I like between classes, I'll just go there like, I gotta eat real quick and then leave. What Guinness World Record do you think you could break in the future?
Oh my god, that's a hard question.
Yeah, it is a hard one.
Oh my god, what?
The strongest candidate.
Yeah, there you go. Well, guy that can talk.
You know what? How about this? This is how we're gonna settle this right now, Mr. Burke. You're gonna get you and your opponent, and we're just gonna arm wrestle, and whoever wins gets the position.
Well, I'm beating him. I'm beating him.
There we go. It's that simple. There you go.
I know, right? If it came down to that, right?
Yeah, it's like
match.
If it comes out
for this position,
if it comes up to a runoff, and it's just still coming 50-50, just go. All right, I got an idea. My good friend Trenton told me this, and let's just do it.
It's funny though. We don't have a runoff. It's a plurality in this race, so it's whoever gets the most votes.
Oh wow, really?
It's even better for me because I don't want to go to a runoff. You know?
Yeah, dude,
I'm like, we've been campaigning against each other. It's just me and him. So who wants to go to a runoff?
I forgot that. It's just you two.
Yeah, just us, man.
Yeah, you got this. Yeah. I believe in you. You got this.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Do you have a favorite T-shirt? If so, what is on it?
Yeah, I do have a favorite T-shirt, but I don't wear it too much anymore.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Wow, man. Come on.
You got so many T-shirts.
Yeah.
I have a T-shirt line too, clothing line. So that's why I'm saying I have some.
I better get some. I better get some shirts here sent to me.
Oh yeah, I got you. You are in Arlington.
I'm in Arlington, man.
Yeah. You come by. You come by the gym and pick up some stuff.
I'll come by the gym and we'll do a video of me working out with you and see how that goes.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, I love that. Yeah, but I got a store in here where you can pick out what you want.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, but I had a T-shirt I made some years ago that just said "God is able." And it was just like one of my favorite shirts. But it's like now because it's old, it's like one of those original shirts that I made, and it's a keepsake, so I don't really wear it. It's just there, you know.
I think my favorite shirt is the one I'm wearing right now, which is the Chappell Media T-shirt. Hey, it's called Chappell Media in 4K. It has like
Yeah.
the record button thing right there and like the frame.
Nice.
But this
Yes,
was the
sir.
original logo, and it's history, and
Yeah.
it means a lot to me. And it's in purple. And it's like no one really owns purple shirts. So
Yeah.
like,
No.
yeah.
Yeah.
All
But you
right.
do.
Yeah, I do because I'm awesome. Which body part do you wish you could detach and why? Yeah,
Detach.
I just take it off.
Man, probably my ears so I can stop hearing some of this crap that I have to hear with the media.
Hey, I would say that's a good one. I would say honestly, I would say my arm. I just take it off, and that way I have like a thing I can hit people with, or
When they
my
say something that doesn't make any sense.
yeah, or I can take off my head and still survive.
There you go.
And just like because you know when you go bowling and like your ball doesn't come back, and you're like, you have to sit there and that's that awkward wait. You just
Just throw the head down there.
yeah, there you go. All right, this is a controversial question. There's a right and there's a wrong answer to this, and you gotta be careful what you're gonna say. Okay.
Okay.
Toilet paper, over or under?
Under.
So, so like that. So it's against the wall.
Yeah, it's by the wall.
So like here's the wall, and the paper goes like this.
Yeah, it's
What is
got to be
wrong?
by the wall.
What is wrong with you? What
It's
is
got to
wrong
be.
with? No, it's
I'm OCD.
over.
No, it doesn't look over. Doesn't look good. You know why? Because
Why?
if somebody, for example, in my business, if somebody does it over, because they do this up here and I change it back. When it hangs down, it just looks unprofessional. But when it hangs back closer to the wall, it looks like it's out of the way, like it looks more clean. And when you tear it off, it just falls perfect.
Want to hear a fun fact?
Yeah,
The patent for the toilet paper roll itself
yeah,
in
I
the
see it.
picture, it's
Yeah, I see
over.
it. That's
So
that's
you're
probably why I
doing
go up
it. You're doing it
because I don't
wrong.
want to be like them. You know, you got to be a rebel.
All right. If peanut butter wasn't called peanut butter, what would it be called?
A gooey mess.
There you go.
Gooey
I
butter,
would
because
call
that's what it
actually I would call jelly that. Jelly, I'm
jelly
more
that.
because it's sticky.
Yeah, well, I mean, it does go with jelly, so
Yeah.
you can get away
You can call it gooey mess 1 and 2.
with it. Yeah.
All right. What slogan or jingle got stuck in your head forever?
Big loaders, big loader construction set.
That's okay.
It was a toy when I was a kid, and they had a commercial. The big loader construction
Yeah.
set. I'm older than you, so you probably
I
wouldn't
probably
remember
don't
that.
know it, but
Yeah,
I
I
get.
was in elementary school, middle school, but that was the commercial. And they had a little fake, like cartoonish guy on there, and he's like moving around. He's a construction worker, and it's funny. I just was at the gym one day, walking through the gym, and I started singing that jingle. And I got a guy, one of my the guy was my manager at the gym, runs the gym. He's 25, and he's busted out laughing. I said, "Do you know that?" He said, "Yeah, I do know that jingle." I said, "How do you know? You're too young." He said, "No, I had an older brother, so I remember because blah blah blah." And I was like, he was like, "So funny that you sung that song."
You know one stuck in my head forever, and it will probably never leave.
What?
All right, get ready. You can sing it with me if you want. Oh, O'Reilly's.
Oh yeah,
O'Reilly's. Yep, that one's
auto part.
auto parts. Ow!
That and my second one would be love and marriage goes together like a horse and carriage.
I've never heard that one.
That's Al Bundy's. That's the Bundys.
Oh my gosh!
That's the Bundys, man.
Wow.
That was a show.
I'm trying to think of any other one. Like, is there another one? I mean, the Trenton Chappell theme song is always Trenton Chappell live theme song is always gonna be stuck in my head.
Yeah,
Because that's my theme song. But yeah, no, O'Reilly's is always stuck in there.
O'Reilly's is the big one.
That's a big
That
one.
means they did right with their marketing.
All right, this is a good question, and this will show the human side of you.
Okay.
Have you ever been arrested? If so, why?
Yeah, it's funny because I just had to do a video about my convictions because people were asking me some recently what happened, why do you have this, we looked at your record, what's going on. And so I have a Class C misdemeanor under an ounce of marijuana.
Okay.
When I was really young, got pulled over on division, and she found under an ounce. And I've got a trademark counterfeit on my record as well. That's for selling Rangers t-shirts. It didn't say Texas Rangers, but it says Rangers. And so those are on my record.
By the way, I had no idea that you had to do that. I'm being serious. That is a question on the card.
Yeah, it's funny. I just put the video out. I mean, I
That's
just
so
last
interesting.
week. Yeah, I just put it on my Facebook page. I got a link to my YouTube, but yeah, go watch the video.
I'll go watch the video.
It's called Kelly Burke coming clean about who I am or something.
Coming
like
clean.
There you
All
go.
right. You get to pick left, right, or middle.
Middle.
Middle. All right. What set of items could you buy that would make the cashier the most uncomfortable? Oh yeah.
What could I buy?
Yeah, what could you buy that make the cashier uncomfortable?
A Trump hat.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, can somebody come ring this guy out? I don't.
Mine would be like, I had to do this the other day. I went to I'm 21, so I drink like responsibly, but
Yeah.
I had to go to a liquor store with my friend, and I still get awkward buying liquor. I still look like I'm about to break the law. I'm like, here you go, like I see your ID, and I go, here you go, and they're like, you're good. You calm down. I'm like, okay,
Right.
cool. But I always get. It's not the cashier that gets uncomfortable. It's me that gets uncomfortable.
Gotcha. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, trust me.
All right, left or right?
Let's go right.
Right. This one. Yeah. What would be the creepiest thing you could say while passing a stranger in the street? You just walk by. Like if me and you never met, you walk by me and you just went whisper and then walked away. What would that whisper be?
Man, I've been holding this thing in for 30 minutes.
That's the good one. I bet you he'd be like, what?
Like, what?
I think mine would be like, just like subscribe to me and just walk away. And they're like, what?
Like, what?
What? Okay. All right.
Okay. What's your channel?
What's your channel? Oh, here you go. I literally, one of my old jobs, I don't work there anymore. I won't say where though. I was talking to a customer, and this is when I started like doing what I do now, and I was like not really taking it seriously, but I really wanted to grow. I had a customer come in, and he's like, "Hey man, how you doing?" I was like, "Oh, I'm good." He goes, "What do you?" He's like, "We're just talking," and I was like, "Oh yeah, I do YouTube stuff and everything," and he's like, "Oh really? What's your channel?" And he gets his phone out, and I go to take the phone, and I type in my thing. For me, I'm used to getting my friends' phones and typing it in for them. He was gonna type it himself. I just took his phone,
Took the phone.
and I just started typing.
That's pretty weird.
He was like,
He's just looking at you like,
"Did you just take my phone?" And I just I didn't have him subscribe the button. I didn't press the button. He didn't press it. I was like, "There you go," and I just pressed it for him. He's like, "Oh, okay." So,
like, don't do that again, okay?
Okay. I was like, "Yes, sir." All right. This is a good question.
Okay.
How many chickens can you take? How many chickens would it take to kill an elephant? Yeah. This is a very important question.
Oh my God, I don't know.
They're gonna ask you this at the debate.
I don't even know how to answer this question. I don't know. One.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think a good, maybe good 20.
Does it have an answer?
No, it's open. And then my last question I want to ask you, it's not from the pod decks, it's just me that I ask, and it's usually my last question I ask my guest. To you, what is success?
Waking up every day, doing what you love. First half. Second half for me was not only waking up every day doing what I love, but being able to lay down in my bed at night and be getting paid, and I'm not there doing the work.
Heck yeah, that's such a good answer. Ladies and gentlemen, Kelly R. Burke. What does the R stand for?
Rashad.
Rashad. That's a cool name.
Yeah. Thank you.
Kelly Rashad Burke.
Not to be confused with R. Kelly.
Yep, no.
Kelly R. Not R. Kelly.
Well, Mr. Burke, thank you so much for coming on my show today. Taking time out of your day to do this. I know you're a very busy man, and it means a lot to me that I got to talk to you about what I believe in the field of education and express how I feel about things. And it's very awesome that you get to sit down with me and I got to tell you that stuff. Where can they find you? Where can they hear about you and everything?
Yeah, the website is burkforeducation.com. The YouTube channel is Kelly Burke's USA. I'm actually an ex-YouTuber too, man. Got my start on fitness YouTube, so I still have a fitness YouTube. That fitness YouTube is KRB Fitness. If you watch some of my old fitness videos, I've got hundreds on there. I've got 21,000 subscribers, but I don't post on there anymore. But that was kind of my claim to fame. And then Facebook is just Kelly R. Burke 315.
Awesome,
so,
awesome.
Yeah. But man, I definitely enjoyed it, and I really appreciate the opportunity. And if I'm elected, man, we need to start working on grooming you so you can take my spot when I'm done.
Oh, I got you, man. I'm gonna come to your gym and we're gonna work out together. We'll make
Oh,
a
that'd be
video
great.
together.
You gotta do a video of that. Yeah, that'd be good.
With me just like trying to be a bodybuilder for a day. I'm like, all right, here we go, guys. And it's like I want to get like the bar and like there's no weight on it. It's just the bar. And I'm already struggling.
Yeah, come do
I'll go do it.
it.
Thank you again, man. Thank you seriously. And guys, next week we have a guest that's gonna. I can't announce who it is yet, but subscribe to the newsletter. It's chapelmedia.com/subscribe. That's where you can subscribe to the newsletter and get updates on videos that we're making, podcasts, guests that we're going to be having, and all this fun stuff. But again, thank you, Mr. Burke. Again, burkeforeducation.com. Check him out and learn more about him. And when does voting start?
Early voting starts April 25th through May 4th, and then election day is May the 7th.
Awesome.
So
Go out and vote. Go out and vote.
Yeah. Get out there, people. Vote. Get involved. School board matters. City council matters. So go
Yes,
vote.
it does. All right, guys. We're out of here. And stay safe, everybody. You too, Mr. Burke. And we're out. Peace.
Thank you, brother.